the being of pure evil and innocence. This being is known as, well, Majin Buu, the purification of pure evil, was born at the dawn of time. When the universe started, that's when Majin Buu was created, as some may say. But what if the main protagonist from My Hero Academia had the same abilities as this legendary creature? Well, I guess that's what we're gonna have to see in this new What If. What if Deku had Majin Buu's abilities? Let's go. Roll that. Izuku was like most children his age. He wanted a strong quirk, and the strong quirk he was gonna get. He was only 4 years old, but he already knew what it took to be a hero. Strength, money, power, and a fandom. A strong one at it. He was a young child still, so he didn't understand most adultly matters. It was his 4th birthday. He knew that soon he would awaken his quirk. So he would go to wake up his mother on the big day he thinks he's going to at least know what his quirk is going to be. So, so he goes, he sees the doctor. The doctor tells him, son, you have a very interesting quirk. We actually don't even know what it is. Your cells instantly regenerate, like on a cellular level. Is how your cells do that. Meaning, when you get injured, son, you won't even know you got injured. Not to mention, your powers are a lot of them, son. You have a lot of different abilities that you don't even know about. That comes from this quirk. For instance, you have super strength. You can fly, and you have different type of abilities. I'm not quite sure what they are, but you're gonna have to eventually find them out. But that's about all I could tell you. So, Izuku goes home and sleeps on the knowledge. But the next day, when he goes to preschool, he tells his class about how extraordinary his abilities are and interesting they are. So everybody would say, cool. So the teacher would ask, what is one of the things you can do? Well, the doctor, he said I have like a lot of different abilities I could have possibly awakened with my quirk. So, and it's called purification, he says. This is one of the abilities I can make that's not really like you can fight with it, but I mean, it's useful. I can turn anything into food. The teacher says, all right, kid, you can stop lying. Even though the adult knows this is just a 4-year-old child. So Izuku, he looks at a pencil, and then he puts his hand out as a purple energy appears around it as he shoots it out as it hits the pencil, as it turns into a chocolate bar. Everybody would be surprised by it being true. Izuku says that's not the only thing I can do, as he would begin to levitate. Another ability I have is to fly, along with me. Also, he being able to copy other abilities, the doctors told me. I'm not sure how, but I will figure it out. But I do know I also have super strength. Izuku would explain to everybody. Bakugo, looking at him, growing greatly envious towards the young Izuku. So, time would pass. Izuku would now be in 8th grade. So everybody would be just chilling in the room until their teacher would walk in. A middle-aged man with a pretty boring quirk that doesn't even matter. He would ask them all, "What do you guys want to do when you grow up?" Well, either way, I have already made a bunch of papers so I can literally know it. But this is when he throws it in the air. Well, the papers don't even matter either, he would say, because we all know you want to be heroes. Which everybody starts to use their quirks besides Izuku. One being his eyeballs pop out. He has super long fingers, and that's another ability. He has fire breath. And as this is when Bakugo says, "Don't put me with the rest of these losers. None of these quirks even compare to mine." As this is when, of course, the teacher would then mention that Izuku also wants to go to UA with Bakugo. And this is when he says, "Deku, no matter how strong you and your stupid quirk is, I'm going in with the best score." Bakugo, Bakugo. That's what you said about sports. And look at where we're at, Izuku would say. This was when Bakugo would shut up. As his class would end, and Izuku would be finishing some stuff up in his notebook, and, well, everyone of Bakugo's friend group would then walk up to Izuku. This is when he would notice that Izuku was literally journaling about him and how his quirk works and the ups and downs, the strengths and weaknesses of his quirk. So before Bakugo could try to take Izuku's quirk, Lord, not his quirk, his book, this is when Izuku teleports outside. As this is when he would begin to walk home like he normally would. As he knows that he could just teleport home if he chooses to, but sometimes it's more convenient just to walk. So Izuku would be almost home. He would enter a tunnel. He would see a strange thing coming out, leading to a humongous sludge building coming out. This is when my fault. This is when Izuku would then jump out the way instantly. And then he then says, "Change." And this is when his hands begin to transform. And this is when his arms then wrap around the sludge building. And this is when he would then begin to hold it down, saying, "Hmm." And then he says, "I know about you. You're the sludge villain All Might has been looking for." As this is when he takes out his journal, still holding the monster down, which the sludge villain is surprised that this child could hold him down with that much force. As this is when he scrolls to page 500, sludge villain. Can turn anything to sludge, can take over bodies. Interesting ability. But, I've seen cooler. And that's just villains he would talk about. As Izuku would just stand there for a while, waiting for somebody to show up. As this is when All Might would then appear, not using a Delaware Smash because he sees that the sludge villain is already taken down by a middle schooler at it. This is when All Might would say, "Good job, kid." This is when he would then look at This is when Izuku would say, "Oh my god, oh 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 my god. It's All Might." This is when he then asks, "Can I get your autograph, sir?" "I already did it." As this is when Izuku looks down and realizes it's on 2 whole pages. Oh man, oh man, oh man. As this is when he then takes the sludge villain from Izuku and then puts it in 2 bottles. As this is when All Might would be, jumping really high to the point to where it looks like he's flying. So Izuku follows him, knocks him down into a rooftop, making them accidentally drop the sludge villain. This is when Izuku then asks All Might a question. "With my quirk, can I become a hero?" he would explain. It's called purification. As he would begin to explain how it works and all the abilities, he said, "Well, kid, with all of those abilities, you could become an amazing hero," he would say. "Really, All Might?" Izuku would respond. "Kid, I would never scare you wrong, even though I barely know you. But I feel like you can do really good with your quirk. I also recommend you to go to UA High School. That's the same high school I went to. I'm gonna actually be teaching there this year." "Really?" "Yeah, kid." This is when all my coughs of blood. This is when Izuku says, "You're fake." "No, kid. This is my life's biggest fear." This is when Izuku sees All Might's scar. This was a bad scar I got around 6 years ago, he would say. "That's why I can only go hero for about maybe 3 hours a day," All Might would say. "Kid, this may seem like fun and games, but being a hero is a very serious job," he would say. "And it could cost you life-injuring injuries like this." "Interesting," Izuku would say. Him then walking over to All Might, saying, "Can I look at that?" "Sure, kid." And this is when Izuku closes his eyes, as he then puts his hand out, as it begins to heal All Might's scar. Because I think you guys forget that not only Majin Buu healed a blind kid, but he literally saved a dog from being shot from a bullet, from dying from a bullet wound. It could probably heal All Might's wound. This is just hypothetically though. So he then sees that his wound is completely gone. "Kid, how did you do that?" "Well, it's one of my abilities I told you about." "Well, when you said you had healing abilities, I didn't think they were that strong." "Well, yeah, it's one of my abilities," Izuku would say. Interesting, interesting. "Anyway, well, kid, I'll see you around." This is when All Might would then be back in his buff form, since that's his natural form. This is when he would hop there, as he would then notice that the sludge villain is no longer in his pockets, because as we know, the sludge villain was in a bottle, and when Izuku started flying and knocked All Might into the building by accident, it fell out of his pocket. So Izuku would be walking home assured and happy that he could become a hero, because he literally got told by All Might with his quirk he can become a hero. So this leads into Izuku, you know, eventually walking home, as we go over to Bakugo, as Bakugo kicks open the sludge villain as normal, gets caught in it, and All Might, not being around at first, doesn't know this happened, so this still leads into the same fight as before, but the difference is that when Izuku arrives, he manages to actually save Bakugo, because he simply he extended his arms and grabbed Bakugo from the sludge villain, because as we saw before, Izuku has a stronger grip than the sludge villain, because he was able to keep the sludge villain down for long enough for All Might to come to save for All Might to take the sludge villain away, as All Might still caught the sludge villain, changed the weather, yada yada yada. So this then leads us into All Might still asking Deku to inherit his quirk, which Deku still says yes, obviously. Now, mind you, this is a quirk. All of Deku's abilities are his purification quirk. That's what we will call Majin Buu's abilities are going to be called purification. So yes, if you didn't want it before, and that's why I named it then. So All Might and Deku begins to train, because Deku has the body for it, but he's training to learn how to properly use One for All. Until eventually Deku figures out How about I just use it in my own way? I might say, what do you mean by that, kid? I can create a mechanism with this to be able to make me use it at my own percentage without breaking my limbs. How'd you know that could happen, kid? Well, I figured out because when your body isn't strong enough for this type of quirk, it could break you, literally. This kid is smart, all might would say to himself. So, if I charge it one for all around my body instead of one spot, instead of that one limb being broken, I can have my entire body take a bit of strain instead of that. But guys, this is where we will leave off in part 1 to what if Deku had Majin Buu's abilities. I will see you guys in the next one. I love you all. Hope y'all have a good day and peace out.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.